Have you ever looked closely at a photo, or maybe watched a video back, and just seen something? Something that makes you stop and think, wait, what is that?
Oh, absolutely. With cameras everywhere now, phones, security systems, we capture so much more life.
Exactly. But sometimes what gets captured just, well, it defies any easy explanation, doesn't it? It really makes you question things.
It does. And while, many things can be explained away, sometimes you find these anomalies that are just resistant to simple answers. They stick with you.
They certainly do. So today we're going to explore 5 particular images and videos. These are ones that seem, well, pretty genuine, not obvious fakes, and they are genuinely perplexing.
It's a fascinating area. The line between the explainable and the truly unknown can be very thin sometimes.
Okay, let's unpack this first one. This takes us to a wedding, usually a happy occasion, but something quite unsettling was found later. We're talking about Kevin and Christina Dennis from Richmond, Virginia. They got married, posted their wedding photos online, all very normal.
Right, sharing the happy moments.
Until a friend pointed something out. In one of their favorite shots, right there between their heads, there's this face peering out.
And it's not just any face. They described it as a strange Smeagol-looking face, which is quite a description.
It really is. So naturally, Kevin and Christina started asking around, did anyone prank them? Was someone hiding behind them?
Well, Christina's sister apparently offered a kind of vague explanation, saying she might have ducked behind them at some point.
But Kevin and Christina weren't buying it. They said, look, this face, it looks nothing like her. They actually used the word demon to describe it.
Which ramps up the creepy factor considerably, from a possible prank to something else entirely.
And then, of course, they shared it online, and Reddit users jumped in with suggestions, and oh boy, they were not comforting.
Let me guess, things got dark fast.
You could say that. People suggested it was their unborn child, or the spawn of Satan, even a bad omen for their marriage.
Wow. That's quite a leap from an odd shape in a photo. It really shows how we project meaning onto the unknown, doesn't it? Especially something ambiguous like a face.
It really does. Our minds try to make sense of it, find patterns, but when the pattern looks like that,
the interpretations can go to some pretty wild places. And tied to a wedding, such a significant event, it hits harder.
Absolutely. So the upshot is, it basically ruined what should have been a lovely photo for them. And the weirdest part, a year went by, and nobody ever confessed to it being a prank.
Which just deepens the mystery. If it was a joke, you'd think someone would have owned up by now.
Right, so it leaves them feeling even more creeped out. Maybe it is just a trick of the light, a weird shadow.
But you have to admit, as shadows go, it's a particularly sinister-looking one, even if it's just coincidence.
Definitely sinister. Okay, let's move on. Sometimes it's not a still photo, but moving footage caught on camera that chills you. Our next piece comes from a home security camera. This footage surfaced back in August 2009. It was recorded in the middle of the night, and what it seems to show is, well, a small dog being dragged backwards.
Dragged? By what?
That's the thing. By some kind of unknown force, you don't see anything pulling it.
Okay, that sounds deeply disturbing. Was the dog okay?
Thankfully, yes. The person who posted the video confirmed the dog didn't suffer any ill effects from whatever happened, which is a relief.
That is good to hear. But still, the question remains, what could pull a dog backwards? So you said violently.
Yeah, it looks quite forceful. And apparently you can even hear the dog hitting the bathroom door as it gets pulled back.
Huh. And no explanation. No string, no person, just out of frame.
Nothing obvious. And here's a really strange detail. Just before the dog gets yanked back, there's this odd, almost wind-like sound on the recording.
A sound before it happens. That is peculiar.
And the owner added that they'd never seen him move that quick before. So the movement itself seemed unnatural to them.
Right, the speed and the force. My first thought goes to, okay, maybe the dog got tangled in something unseen, like a cord or leash.
That's the logical jump, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But then you have that weird sound beforehand, and the owner saying the movement was just wrong. It makes you second guess the simple explanations.
It does. And online, opinions were split, as you'd expect, but apparently most people watching it felt the dog wasn't acting naturally. They leaned toward the idea that some possibly sinister force was involved.
It's easy to dismiss, but when you put the visuals, the sound, and the owner's comment together, it's compellingly strange.
Very compelling. It's those little details, like the sound, that often make these cases harder to just brush off as mundane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, from something potentially sinister, let's shift to a story that might be seen as more comforting, though it's just as mysterious. This involves a photograph taken back in 2014 by a man named Chris Lee. He was visiting his granddad, Bob Large, in a hospital in Cheshire. Now, Bob was very ill. He had terminal cancer, kidney failure. Sadly, he was only expected to live for a few more days.
Oh, dear. A difficult time.
Very. And Chris was about to go on holiday, so he thought this visit might be the last time he'd see his granddad alive. So he decided to take one last photo of him with his phone.
Understandable. A final memory.
And get this. At the very moment Chris took the photo, a vicar was actually reading Bob his last rites.
Wow. That's a poignant moment to capture.
It is. But Chris didn't actually look at the photo right away. It was about a week later when he finally checked it.
What did he see?
He was completely shocked. In the background of the photo, there was a woman. A strange woman he didn't recognize.
Someone who wasn't actually there in the room with them.
Exactly. She hadn't been in the room when he took the picture. He had no idea who she was.
That's eerie. So what did he do? Did he show anyone?
Yes, he showed his family, obviously stunned. Bob's wife even mentioned it to the nursing staff.
And what was their reaction? Were they surprised?
This is where it gets even more interesting. Apparently, the nurses weren't alarmed at all.
Really? Why not?
They said it wasn't unusual to see a figure like that described as a long-haired blonde girl in a white gown standing at the end of patients' beds.
Wait, they'd seen this apparition before? Multiple times.
That's what they implied, which is quite a statement suggesting it wasn't just a one-off thing Chris captured.
That adds a whole different dimension to it. So, what happened with Bob, his granddad?
Well, here's the truly remarkable part. Despite being read his last rites, Bob started to rally. He seemed to pull back from the brink.
No way. He got better.
He did. He felt well enough, in fact, that he was actually released from the hospital a few weeks later.
That's incredible. A real turnaround. It makes you think about the power of belief or maybe something else entirely.
Bob himself, after learning about the woman in the photo, came to believe she was his guardian angel watching over him. He actually found the photo quite comforting.
I can imagine he would, especially after recovering like that.
Now, skeptics might suggest it was just a reflection, right? Light playing tricks.
That's usually the go-to explanation for things like this in photos.
But Chris was adamant. He said there was literally nothing for it to reflect off. He was there. He knew the room setup.
Hard to argue with the person who took the photo and was physically present.
It is. Now, there is a sad end to this part of the story. Bob did eventually pass away peacefully on January 15th, 2015.
That's a shame. But still.
But it really seemed like maybe his guardian angel, or whatever that presence was, gave him one last Christmas with his family.
That's a lovely, albeit bittersweet, way to think about it. A truly mysterious and quite touching story.
It really is. Now, from a potentially benevolent presence, let's travel to a place known for presences that are perhaps less comforting. We're heading to Plas Teg in Wales.
Plas Teg. Yes, that place has quite the reputation. A Jacobean country house, built way back in 1610.
And it's widely considered one of the most haunted buildings in the UK. Built by Sir John Trevor. His family lived there for centuries, until about 1930.
And it had other uses too, right? I think it was used by the War Office, maybe even as a court or a sanatorium at different points, before it was restored more recently.
That's right. Restored by Cornelia Bay in 1986 and open to the public. But with all that history
comes the folklore. And Plas Teg is absolutely teeming with ghost stories. They say there are something like 15 different spirits haunting the place.
15. One of the most famous is Dorothy, Sir John Trevor's daughter. Her ghost is said to haunt the road beside the house.
Yes. The tragic love story. She fell for a local farmer's son, Worth, wasn't it?
It was. Family disapproved, of course. So they planned to elope. Dorothy hid her jewels near a well on the estate.
But something went wrong.
Terribly wrong. On the night they were supposed to run away, she went to get the jewels from the well. It was pitch black. She slipped and fell in, drowned.
Oh, how awful. And the jewels?
Her body was found 2 months later, but the jewels were gone. And Worth, the farmer's son, was so distraught and maybe afraid he'd be blamed for her death that he hung himself.
So both their spirits are said to linger there. A classic haunting narrative born from tragedy and lost love.
Exactly. And the well itself seemed to be a hotspot.
Right. I remember reading about a gardener who claimed he felt hands grab his shoulders near the well, trying to pull him in.
Chilling. And that's sometimes attributed to a different John Trevor V, who supposedly killed his wife after finding out about an affair.
And then died himself in a drunken carriage crash, consumed by guilt. The stories just layer on top of each other there.
They really do. There's another one about a young woman Elizabeth Trevor Roper, who died there in 1815, 16 years old.
Another well story.
Seems so. The man she refused to marry apparently killed the man she loved, chased her to the well, and she either slipped or was pushed in. Her ghost, and supposedly her true love's ghost running through the halls looking for her, are also part of the lore.
It paints a picture of a place just saturated in sorrow and violent emotion, which often correlates with reports of paranormal activity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And visitors report all sorts of things. Being touched, prodded, even pushed by something unseen.
Physical interaction, that's quite intense.
And the sounds, too. People report hearing giggling, sobbing, knocking, whispers, distinct talking, and footsteps when no one is there.
Classic auditory phenomena associated with hauntings. Does the atmosphere itself feel strange?
Apparently, yes. People talk about sudden, dramatic shifts in emotion, depending on where they are in the house. Overcome with sadness in one room, anger or despair in another, sometimes even sudden, inexplicable happiness.
That's interesting. It suggests the environment itself has a powerful effect, whether it's truly spirits or just the weight of history and suggestion.
Given all this, it's a magnet for ghost hunters. Paranormal investigator Paul Rowland has done a lot of work there.
Right. I think I've heard of his findings at Plas Teg. Didn't he capture an image he believes is Sir John Trevor?
He did, back in May 2019, in the Regency bedroom, which is strongly linked to Sir John. He was using special lighting and apparently calling out for Sir John to show himself when he took the photo.
And Sir John's ghost is meant to be quite unwelcoming.
Very. Described as unfriendly, irritable. Another investigator felt that presence strongly the night the photo was taken. And Roland is convinced it's not just a reflection. He said they'd have needed to be standing on the bed to create it, and no one was.
It's always tricky with photos. Pareidolia and reflections are common, but an experienced investigator being convinced makes it more compelling. Did he get anything else?
He claims he also captured audio evidence in the same room, EVPs, electronic voice phenomena. He says you can hear voices saying Sarah and Roger, a mix of male and female tones.
Auditory evidence combined with visual can be powerful, though again, interpreting EVPs is notoriously subjective.
True. And this wasn't his first capture there either. Back in 2007, he took another photo at Plas Teg that he believes it was the ghost of a child.
So he's built up quite a portfolio of potential evidence from that one location. It certainly seems like something is going on there, whatever the ultimate explanation might be.
It definitely seems that way. Okay, for our last piece of unexplained evidence, we're shifting focus slightly. This one edges towards the realm of aliens and UFOs, which some people definitely consider paranormal.
Ah, the high strangeness crossover. Yes, the lines can blur there.
This involves a photograph sent in by a viewer. We don't have any reason to doubt its authenticity in terms of it being what the photographer saw.
Okay, what's the story?
It was taken by someone working the night shift around 3 a.m. at a huge open-pit copper mine in Arizona, one of the world's largest, apparently.
Right. Remote location, middle of the night, often when strange things are reported.
Exactly. The worker saw this unexplained light source in the sky, or maybe near the ground. It's not totally clear. So he decided to take a photo of the light.
Just documenting something unusual.
Yeah. But it was only when he zoomed in on the picture later that he got a shock. He saw, well, a tiny figure seemingly within the light source.
A figure, like humanoid.
That's how it looks. Now you look at it and part of you thinks, okay, this looks almost too good to be true, right?
The classic reaction. Could it be pareidolia again? Our brains seeing a familiar shape, a person, in just random light and shadow.
That's definitely a possibility. Our minds are pattern-seeking machines. But the photographer was insistent that the light source itself was totally unexplained. It wasn't the moon, wasn't the sun coming up, just a weird light.
Okay, so the context of the unexplained light adds weight to the strange figure within it. It wasn't just a random shape in a normal photo.
Right, and the person actually sent a second photo, taken on a different night at the same mine, also showing the unexplained light source, though I don't think there was a figure in that one.
So, repeated sightings of odd lights at this specific location.
Apparently so. The Morenci copper mine, where this happened, reportedly has a history of unexplained events. Workers on night shifts have apparently made numerous reports of strange lights in the sky over the years.
That context is important. It suggests it's not just a one-off isolated incident, and Arizona itself.
It's exactly. Arizona has long been considered a UFO hotspot, hasn't it? You've got famous cases like the supposed Paradise Valley UFO crash, the Travis Walton abduction case, the Phoenix Lights.
The whole state seems to have this lore around unexplained aerial phenomena. So a report like this fits into that broader narrative.
It does. Which, of course, doesn't prove anything on its own, but it makes a report perhaps less surprising in that geographical context.
Absolutely. The challenge with photos like this is always verification, but the persistence of reports from locations like mines, often in remote areas, keeps the question alive. Are people just misidentifying things, or is there genuinely something unknown being cited?
So what do you think about this one? A genuine glimpse of something extraterrestrial? Or just our brains playing tricks again in a weird light?
It's impossible to say definitively from just the photo, isn't it? But it's certainly a striking image, especially given the location and the history. It leaves you wondering.
It really does. Well, that brings us to the end of our look at these 5 truly baffling images and videos. We've had the creepy wedding guest, the dog pulled by an unseen force, the potential guardian angel, the many spirits of Plas Teg, and this strange figure in the Arizona mine light.
Quite a collection. Each one presents its own unique challenge to easy explanation, pushing us to consider possibilities outside our everyday understanding.
They really linger in your mind, don't they? Are they just tricks of light? Simple misinterpretations? Or could they actually be glimpses into forces, entities, perhaps even visitors that are beyond what we currently comprehend?
That's the ultimate question these kinds of phenomena pose. They reflect our deep-seated human fascination with the unknown, the unexplained. A reminder that maybe, just maybe, there's more to reality than we think.
We'll leave you with that thought to mull over. If these stories have captured your imagination and maybe sent a little shiver down your spine, remember you can find more content like this over on the Horror Docs channel.
That's right.
Please do like, share, and subscribe to Horror Docs if you want to stay tuned for more explorations into the unexplained.
Your support helps keep these investigations going.
Absolutely. Until next time, stay curious, maybe double-check your photos, and thanks for joining us.